live. Uh, and we're live with another episode of BS
Yeah.
Busters. Um, and we're about to get into it. But before we go any further, let's have everyone introduce themselves, starting with the ladies first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages to BS Busters Movie Contest. I am your alien Moonstar, and brother, if you got Twitch or something else, you might want to do a double check.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I have to agree. Kenoshi.
This Kenoshi Abominito here to say an old cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason because it's true. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, I agree. So with that being said, it's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters, and before we go any further, I'm going to get the announcements out of the way first. If you would like to be on the cast, have cast topics, all of the information for the cast is in the description, including email, Twitter, and our Discord link to if you want to be a part of the channel. The channel is
I was
called
about to say,
BS Busters.
you honestly are now going for Twitch as well.
I do. The thing is that there is a Twitch channel for BS Busters, but I haven't really used it. So it like even if they were to get my information, they're not going to get anything because my Twitch channel isn't connected to my personal bank account. I use because I have Capital One. I use the dummy accounts that you can generate. So even if they did manage to get my information, they're not really going to get anything. But I do that just because I run a business and I want people stealing my shit. Because I mean, even with the economic downturn and me losing a lot of income, I'm still like that's a lot of money being thrown around, and I'm not having people steal my money. I just, you know, if they steal my money, that's like a lot of money I could lose. So that shit ain't happening. But anyway, with that being said, so we have some topics to go over. Um, our first topic is going to be games that we bought or received. You know, could have been a gift on a whim that turned out to be good. Followed by mind-blowing games that defined next gen for us. The Smash Brothers reveal, our thoughts on that. The Twitch hack, and finally miscellaneous news, and finishing it up with unpopular opinions.
Hmm.
But let's dive into games we bought or received first on a whim that turned out to be
Um,
good.
this is probably the weird thing for me because the weird one is Flip Wars for me, and while it feels kind of like a Bomberman like game, it's not it's not it's not terrible, but it actually is pretty entertaining. If you're wondering it, you have to do ground pounds in order to flip tiles around in a certain pattern and try to knock your opponent off the field and control most of the board with your color.
What's the name of the game again?
Flip Wars.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's not. It's kind of neat. It's kind of neat to me, at least. So it was a fun. It was a fun buy at about $7 to $8.
Fair. Kenoshi, do you have any surprise games that came out and you're like, wow, this is much better than it has any business? Like you probably bought it on a whim. You're like, I want something to play, and I'm just gonna get this, and then you get it, and you're like, damn, this is good.
Super Mario RPG. Back in the day, I never heard of the game, never saw any trailers or anything, never saw any commercials. It's like, man, this game played it, and it's like, man, this game is great.
Fair enough. For me, when I've ever impulsively bought games, like for consoles, it typically was because the console would reach a point where like there just wasn't a lot coming out, and I just wanted to play something on it. I had this a lot happen to me with the Wii, not the Wii U so much, but the Wii was huge. So there's like 2 games that I bought for the Wii. No, 3 games for that, but that I bought for the Wii that were impulse buys because I just wanted something to play on the system that turned out to be like way better than they had any business. And that's Opuna. It was like an RPG, and like normally you think RPG on the Wii, and you're like, this is gonna be some bullshit, but it's actually really good. It's basically like Earthbound, except in a 3D form, which only cements how I don't know why Nintendo didn't make an Earthbound for a home for like a 3D open world Earthbound game in a 3D space, because it really does have that Earthbound feel to it. The other game I remember getting for the Wii is Zack and Wiki. That game is astonishingly good. It's a shame it didn't sell all that well on the Wii, but it is really good. And the other game I got for the Wii that I was like, wow, this game, I took a chance. It's really good. Red Steel 2. Now, I know that game is good, but the first Red Steel kind of dropped a turd in the pool for that franchise. Because that first game was terrible. But the second game was really good. So, those games were, I just kind of bought them. I was like, I want something to play. I got them. They were astonishingly good.
Yeah,
Another,
the Wii had a bit of a drought.
well,
at least the
for first party games.
Yeah.
I mean, I recently bought Fist, Forged in Shadow Torch, on the on the on the PC on Steam, and it's a game from a Chinese developer made in Unreal 4 or Unreal 5, and it's great.
What's
It's
the game called?
Fist Forged in Shadow.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
And it's made by a Chinese developer, but it's using a lot of the mythos from the Chinese zodiac.
Yeah.
And it's really good. It's astonishingly good. I'm like, damn, this is much better than it has any business being. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think what holds a lot of gamers back is that they get caught up in brands. Sometimes you just got to take a chance. Now, I wouldn't say take a chance on a $60, $70 game at launch, but if a game's on sale for like 40, 50, 30 bucks, 20, take a chance. You have nothing to lose if it's not full price. You took a chance, and if it's good, you're like, yeah, this is great. If it's bad, well, at least you didn't spend $60, $70 on it. Any other games you guys want to bring up? They were like, wow, this was, I took a chance and it turned out pretty well.
I would say Hades because I don't really like roguelike games. It's like, well, I like the way the game looks. I like Supergiant, as a company. Check this out, and it turned out to be really good.
Yeah, but most of their games are good. Like Transistor was good. The game before Transistor, which the name escapes me, was good. Like they haven't made a bad game yet. Like most studios have like a misstep, but yeah, Supergiant Games is like all 3 of their games are pretty good. So, like if you have a good track record, then I kind of can give you, I can forgive a lot of stuff if you have a good track record. Any other games you guys want to mention that you're like, wow, this game is much better than it has any business being? Yes, no, maybe so. Nothing. Okay.
I was about to say I got nothing as of recent, so we could go on.
All right. I mean, I could go on, and it could be a topic it could be a cast in and all itself. Games that you bought on a whim that turned out to be good. Like Metabots.
Wait, you actually got Metabots?
Yeah, I got the Japanese version of Metabots because it was really hard to find the American version, and then I ripped the ROM and applied a patch to it with my EverDrive for my Game Boy, uh, and so that's how I played it.
Isn't that a TV show or something?
They did a TV show in America to make it because come on, like when Pokemon came out, everyone was trying to come out with their own Pokemon, like the
Yeah.
games.
I was
They
gonna
had a
say
TV
that
show that was like that. Personally,
they
I
even
liked
tried
Metabots, the
that.
TV show, more than Pokemon.
They even, I was about to say that they even tried some other weird things like Mongolian Knights, which was based off a card game that was never translated fully into the U.S. market.
Still better than Pokemon. At this point,
Oh,
Pokemon is the most shallow, um, overrated trash these days. So I'm like, why should I? Like, I just can't. I can't continue to just support this trash. So even back then, I was like, this is too much. So I don't really do Pokemon these days, uh, unfortunately, or fortunately. I mean, if you're not really into it. So yeah, that's my thing. But yeah, Metabots was surprisingly good on the Game Boy Color. I got Quest 64. I got Quest on the Game Boy Color. It's actually better than the N64 game. James Bond on the Game Boy basically plays like Legend of Zelda: A Link's Awakening, but you're James Bond, and your attacks and tools are assigned to the B and A button. It's like this game is really good. Like, so I could do an entire cast just on games that I've gotten on a whim that turned out to be really good. Like, I've been lucky that like 80% of the games that I get on a whim or when I just want something to play turn out to be good. Well, let's move on to the next topic. Mind-blowing games that defined next gen for you.
um, that's gonna be a little hard for me because I'm trying to remember and it's kind of foggy.
All right. Kenoshi?
Um, obviously Super Mario 64. Um, Donkey Kong for the Super Nintendo,
Oh, yeah.
and let's see what else for the newer stuff. Um, Gears of War for the 360 at least. Graphically speaking, Wii Sports for the Wii, as it pertains to controller. Controller for the control scheme for the Wii.
Okay, I got something.
8th and 9th gen are a little hard because it just. I guess for the Wii U, it had the maybe Splatoon.
Oh, man.
Not
Maybe the
sure.
one
I
for
could say
101.
I could say a game that felt next gen for me on the Wii U. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That was an entire
Xenoblade Chronicles X.
yeah, sorry, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Yeah, that game really felt next gen. Cause
Yeah, again, I agree. I just didn't hold my attention as much as I thought it would.
that had an entire world and each continent felt different. you know, like a lot of games, they have a different continent. They're like, oh, it's the desert continent. We have slightly different enemies with slightly different looks. But each continent had completely different enemies and felt different, which I loved. And it really rewarded exploration, and the story was kind of interesting. The characters were interesting. Um, I really did like that game. The only flaw with that game, in my opinion, is that the level cap was 60. If the level cap was a little bit higher, it could have been great. But that low ass level cap. But that
What
game
was the
felt next
level
gen.
cap?
It was level 60.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I'm playing an RPG and I'm having difficulty with a boss, I'm like, oh, well, I need to go and level up. But in that game, you could be level 60 and enemies could
But
still be kicking your ass. So
I was gonna make the comment that it's kind of like FF8's
Weren't there
battles.
little,
And then,
weren't there like level 80 monsters that you had to?
Yeah, but the level cap was level 60. You see where the problem
Weird.
lies? Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the problem with the game. I would love for there to be a sequel to the game, but um, maybe for Nintendo's next gaming device, we'll get a sequel to Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I'd be cool with that.
Mm.
I personally prefer Xenoblade Chronicles X over Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but that's a preference. Because I like having mechs, because mechs are cool.
oh, come on.
But anyway, let's see, next gen. I would say that Rogue Squadron 2 for the GameCube felt next gen to me.
Oh yeah.
Like just how that system was utilized and how everything was utilized with the system just felt really next gen.
I was like, yeah. When I first, so I rented that game. When I first saw that game, I was like, man, that game looks incredible. It's really running on this little box.
Yeah, yeah. It basically Rogue Squadron 2 was basically like an updated Rogue Squadron for the N64, but literally it's so much better than the first game. It's so much better. It's one of the reasons I kind of have a soft spot for Level 5. I mean, yeah, the Turrican games are great, but I never really was, because the Turrican series began life on the PC, and it was like the English PC, so I wasn't really that into English PC style games. But Turrican, the only Turrican game I had played was Super Turrican 2 on the Super Nintendo. It's a pretty good game. It felt like a Contra knockoff, though. A little bit. Except you had a health bar, so you could take more than one hit, which is a smart move. But, this next game was like, man, this game is really friggin' awesome. So, that always kind of made me happy. I mean, like I know that the book definition of next gen just simply means the next iteration of a product. But when I think next gen in gaming, I think, okay, you're doing something that was not easily done or even capable from the previous generation. And the problem is that a lot of games these days aren't really next gen. And a lot of these consoles aren't really being utilized in a next gen format. It's like, oh, okay, it's slightly more advanced than what we had before, but nothing really amazing. But that's my own personal opinion. You have any thoughts on it, Kadoshi?
Yeah, I just honestly think I don't know what they're thinking as it that's why the conversation has been more about, specs, what's in the console, the hardware, more so than what they're doing with the games.
Yeah, because they aren't doing anything really interesting with the games. I'll tell you that much right now. It's like, oh, it's slightly prettier than what we had before. Huh?
The only people that are really doing anything interesting are the indies.
Yeah, and that's not really a hardware power thing. That's just like, hey,
Yeah, it's just
we're coming up with new and interesting ways to stretch our budget and still give you a full and complete game, which I'm okay with. I'm not against people, uh, you know, using the budget to the best of their ability to do some cool stuff. Because limitation breed innovation.
Yeah.
Limitations breed innovation. Um, like if you want to see a really good, chef, don't give them the best ingredients. Give them like some mid tier or low tier stuff, and then see what
I
they
was
can create with low tier ingredients.
I was about to say, give them mid to low tier stuff and maybe low tier equipment. I said maybe low tier equipment. So some
Yeah,
people will say that why why limit yourself to the worst to equipment that's aged and outdated when you can use the best to your abilities.
yeah, but they might still be able to come up with some good stuff. So, limitations in gaming can be a good thing. Not all the time, because sometimes you can clearly see where limitations held something back. But, sometimes it's one of those like sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. Um, you know, it's like watching a prize boxer say, "Well, hey, I'm gonna fight this championship fight with one hand tied behind my back. Why are you handicapping yourself?" Which is the problem with a lot of stuff is that a lot of games people are handicapping themselves, which is not cool. But
Yeah, I was going to say that sometimes when something is so easy that you have to handicap yourself, something is probably off with the product
yeah,
rather
but
than the
not commercially. You shouldn't like if you're I mean, this is the problem with Hollywood has this problem too. Um, Rather than come out with something new and interesting, they just keep on going with sequels. You know,
hmm
I mean, shit. Look at Disney Star Wars. The only good film they made was Rogue One, and Rogue One is a prequel to A New Hope. It takes place like a week before A New Hope. It
Yeah.
literally leads up to A New Hope. It's a good movie, but that's it. It's like, okay. The Disney Star Wars trilogy is literally just more, in some cases, almost shot for shot uh, of the original trilogy.
Yeah. Especially the first movie.
Yeah, yeah. And that third movie, it's like they couldn't even come up with a new villain. Hey, it's the Emperor again. How you like them apples? I'm like, y'all some sorry motherfuckers. That's all I gotta say. When I
Yeah.
saw that, I was like, this is the sorriest shit I've ever seen before in my life. Lazy. Um, but anyway, uh, let's see. In the fourth gen, the mind blowing game, the third gen, the mind blowing game in the third gen, where I was like, okay, this game shouldn't be running on this hardware, is Kirby on the NES, because that game is like really advanced.
Yeah.
And was doing a lot of things that should not have been possible in the NES. Later, I found out that they added a lot of extra chips to the cartridge to get it to do that. So technically,
Oh,
it wasn't really doing the NES wasn't doing that. Um, but
that's
still,
interesting. Now that's interesting because the fact and this is because the fact that you can have a modular system where you can just add stuff to cartridges to make games run a little bit better. That's kind of lost when we that was lost when we
went to
went to
CDs.
discs. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I know what some people say. The Switch uses cartridges. Yeah, but they're more
No,
flashcards. They aren't really cartridges.
yeah. I mean, that was what we were all hoping, that you could save games on the cartridges and that they would have batteries and maybe extra RAM for certain games inside the cart. But that would have just been way too damn expensive.
Yeah,
You're expecting like $80. You'd be paying like $80 for a game.
and I wouldn't be if that meant that the game was really innovative and doing cool shit. I wouldn't be upset by that.
Yeah.
But I'm in the minority because I know they want to reach the widest audience possible, and that is a turnoff. I mean, you see how people are balking at paying $70 per game. So I could see where people be like, man, to hell with that BS. So, fourth gen, the next gen game for me for fourth gen was Star Fox on the SNES and Donkey Kong Country. I was like, what? This game is doing what? With those pre-rendered graphics. Um, but I mean, really, I mean, graphics aside, like Donkey Kong Country was such a well-designed platformer that it really changed up the game. Like, I haven't played a platformer as well designed as those Donkey Kong Country games for the Super Nintendo back in the day. Because a good platforming game should give you satisfaction in playing it within and of itself. It should make you feel good. Some games don't do that, sadly. But anyway, fifth gen, I would say the next gen game for me. Everyone always says Super Mario 64. So even though I acknowledge that is kind of a next gen game, I'm not gonna go with Super Mario 64 just because it's like it's everyone's go to. I'm gonna say the next gen game for me for the
Kazooie?
no, because Banjo Kazooie, even though it's really good, Banjo Kazooie is essentially just a it's just like a refinement of the Super Mario 64 formula. Doesn't do anything new. Just it's a refinement of it's already been done. There's no innovation. Um, I'm gonna say for me, the innovative game for me on the N64, where I'm like, this is amazing. I never would have thought this was gonna be a thing. Is ironically, I'm gonna go with Rogue Squadron. Because that game was doing a lot of stuff. You know, you were traveling through space. You were you were traveling through space. They had a ton of ships on the N64. You know, and while the graphics weren't great, unless you had the expansion pack, there still was a lot of stuff going on. So, you know, I gotta give it up. I gotta give it up. Gotta give it up. Anyway, sixth gen, I'm gonna have to say, sixth gen had a lot of good games. Like, you know, that really felt next gen to me. Like Skies of Arcadia, where they had an entire planet that you could travel around on your ship, which was awesome.
Fantasy Star?
I mean, that was basically a MMO on a console, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, but I was thinking that's at least one of the big steps in the future, but
Yeah, I mean, it was an MMO on a console that actually worked. You know, Microsoft bringing PC games to console with like Elder Scrolls Oblivion and Fallout and shit like that. I mean, 6th gen is a pivotal gen that people don't talk enough about for some reason. What else?
probably for some odd reasons.
And then 7th gen hits, and we start getting even more. Like, basically, I would say from 7th gen onward, you get more console PC synthesis where they're coming together.
Yeah, that's where I feel like it really got PC. Like,
I mean, I'm not against like I don't think like I'm not like oh my god, PC games PC should be completely separate from console because there's been some damn good PC games that have come to console that have been good. Like StarCraft on the N64 is great. It's hard, but it's great. Um, I'm not against that, but uh, you have to do good things with it. You can't just be like, hey, we combine these two things, but they're not doing anything interesting. So that's where I'm kind of like, okay, I'm not really into that. But um, I can legitimately say almost every console generation. There's been games that I was like, wow, this game is really good, and I'm glad I got it. So,
All right, guys, I have to go. I will maybe be back, but
alright.
if I'm not, this is Kanoshi Bomnito. Glad to be on another one of these BS Busters.
oh,
All
thank
right,
you for
guys, have a good
joining.
night.
All right,
You're
okay.
welcome.
So
Eh,
there you go. So I guess we can continue on with our other stuff.
yeah.
With our other topics, if you will. Um, let's see. I think we've exhausted the mind-blowing games that define next gen for us. The Smash Brothers reveal. Now,
Oh boy, I got a lot to talk about.
some people were crying. Some people shit their pants. Some people creamed their pants. Some people jizzed in their pants. Some people were like me and didn't really care. Uh, so,
I
how do
was.
you feel about Sora being added to Smash Brothers? Do you care? Do you not
I'm
care?
gonna say this. I had to groan hard because this is a meme pick. A meme pick
I
of
mean,
all things.
look, Jewel, don't get angry. It could be far worse. They could have added Goku.
I know, but I was groaning because it's a meme pick that I was hoping that it wouldn't be.
I mean, it is, but I mean, I hope. I mean, look, Nintendo got a
The
game
block.
that should have been on the series years ago on the system, which is the Kingdom Hearts trilogy. So, I mean, they got something out of it. So, I mean, it's not like, oh, we're just going to put this character on here and they ain't going to do like it's not going to be they aren't going to have any valid reason to be here. So, I can't get mad, I can't be like, "Oh man, how dare they?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was about to say though that you probably felt that way with one character already.
Who, Cloud
Yep.
and Sephiroth?
Sephiroth came. Sephiroth brought the games that he was in with him.
I mean, but he was only in one game. I mean, I know they added him to other shit, but really his main game is Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
That's what he's in. So, um I mean, I don't know.
I said he's a meme pick to me.
I mean, it is
So
a meme, but I mean, like here's the thing. Uh, a lot of people like Final Fantasy 7. I am not one of those people. I don't like the. I don't like. A lot of people like Kingdom Hearts. I am not one of those people. But hey, if this is going to make more people play the game, then knock yourself out. Just because I don't like it, I'm not going to begrudge other people from liking
I'm
it.
not
But I'm not
begrudging
going
it.
to
It's just
pretend like I enjoy it.
I just only groan about it because I just feel like with a meme pick like that, it's gonna invite all kinds of people trying to hope for other things. You get what I'm saying, right?
No, I get it.
Good. It just may at least if anything, I'm just glad that the smash that the smash tension is over in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like Smash had a case of diarrhea, or when you eat something that makes you sick, and everything has to come out, and you just keep on running back and forth to the bathroom over and over again, and eventually you
get cleared out.
Yeah, eventually everything comes out, and that's what happened. So
Heh. So if anything, I already have a feeling that your disappointment was a little high.
I mean, I'm not really disappointed. I just don't care. How can I put this? Yeah, that's it. I don't care. I'm beyond really caring about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know. Now, if you caught me a few years ago, I might have been like, "No, how dare they?" I'm like, whatever. Like I said, when they did Smash 4, I started the Smash franchise started to lose its luster to me a little bit. So now I just I'm like really I don't really care about this franchise.
Hmm.
So so when Smash Ultimate came out, I was like, I'll try. But then I saw that the story mode was better than Smash 4, but still not great. And just it just felt Smash 4 felt commercialized. Smash 5 feels ultra commercialized to the point where it's just not enjoyable for me to play.
Heh.
So
This is probably where you and I are a bit separate because I try I look at it as a whole and not try to feel like it's single player with multiplayer sprinkles.
I'm not. The reason I'm not into it has nothing to do with the single player or multiplayer. It's just I judge each game individually. Like, does this capture my interest? The original Smash Brothers is a nice party game. Melee is a party game that people take way too seriously. Um,
I agree though.
Brawl is, for some people too casualized. I can understand that. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the casual nature of Brawl, but for a lot of people, it's too casual. I can understand that. Not as competitive friendly, but I don't play Smash Brothers competitively. I have, but it's not what I prefer to play it as. Um,
It's a nightmare to me.
and then then you've got the opposite end of that spectrum. You've got like Smash 4 and 5, which are too geared towards the competitive scene. They're like, well, we tried to make each character as balanced as humanly possible and all this stuff, and I'm like, look, man.
Balance- Balancing something like that when when the name of the game was supposed to be fun.
Yeah, well, I
Like,
mean, it's every fighting game has unbalanced characters. That's the nature of fighting games.
yeah, I mean, if anything, I wouldn't be surprised if you you could have a hard time finding characters for certain battle types.
No, just
For
period.
me, I'm a
Every
blaster.
every fighting game has unbalanced characters. That's the nature of fighting games. Is that there's going to
Yeah,
be unbalanced characters, and you just deal with it. You get good at playing the game. As a matter of fact, half of the fun of playing fighting games is getting really good with a crap character and beating people's asses with them.
I make the joke that the thing about a fighting game is that you could play a Dan Hibiki character and
Yeah,
troll somebody online.
yeah, or beating someone's behind with Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff, ostensibly speaking, just on a technical level, is almost all the light characters in Smash Brothers are terrible. Okay, but
Light
you,
characters are that bad? Yeesh.
I mean, because light characters, like once their percentage gets above 50, they're easier to knock out. That's because they're light. Um,
Yeah,
so it's easier to take them down. But the joy is getting really good with what should be a trash character and just destroying people with it. That's the joy of playing fighting games. But I mean, it's become they focus too much on competitiveness, in my humble opinion.
yeah. That's the sad part that's getting me because if anything, that means that certain characters are gonna be so optimized that it's kind of ridiculous.
Well, it becomes too much about, like I said, it becomes too much about. Well, we have to make this. We have to make this for the competitive scene. It's like it. Like I don't really care about the people who want to play games competitively. I want to play games that are fun versus competitiveness, which is like I said. That's why we don't really have like real single player. We haven't had a real single player in Smash Brothers since Brawl. Because 4 single player was on the handheld, it was mediocre at best, and on the home console, it was. I mean, it felt like a troll. It felt like a joke, a mean spirited joke. And 4 single player is better, but not by much. It's still like kind of mediocre. In the multiplayer, like I said, the multiplayer has been good on both of those games. And if I really played a lot of online multiplayer, I'd really care. But the thing is, I don't play a lot of online multiplayer. I don't, for games, because part of it is just I don't like on Smash Brothers on Nintendo Online. I don't want to pay for their online. And second of all, so I don't think I don't think it's a good value proposition for what you're getting. But second of all, you're just not. I just don't play a lot of online games, so it's not a good value proposition for me. Like I don't have Mario Kart 8 on the Switch. I had Smash Brothers, I got rid of it. I don't play Splatoon 2 anymore. I have it, I don't play it.
Huh.
So it's like, I'm paying for an online that I don't use. And I don't, like, the Nintendo Online seems like a good value proposition until you realize, the online library,
Yeah.
until I realize I already have all those games
Huh.
physically or digitally on the Wii U. So it's like, I really don't need this. This is a waste of my money.
Right. I heard that line already.
So, like, on that regard, I'm just like, okay, like, what are they going to do? Are they going to do anything interesting? Is there going to be, So for me, them focusing so much on online multiplayer is not really doing anything for me on the for the for Smash Brothers. Like, I'm not like, oh, it's online. Okay, who cares? We focus so much on the multiplayer that everything else kind of sucks. Okay, I don't care, but all right, if it makes you happy.
Huh. Brother.
But that's my own personal opinion. Do you have anything you want to add about the Smash Brothers online reveal?
Huh. For me, I'm just gonna say this. You guys, you guys are gonna get a second Bayonetta. Congratulations. Though this Bayonetta is lighter than the first.
What Sora plays like Bayonetta?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take your word for it because I don't have the game anymore. Gave it up.
At least take a look at the videos.
No, I'm
That's all.
good. Look, I don't want to. I don't want to take a look at videos for a game I don't have and have no desire to play anymore. It's like asking me to play. Hey, they added a new character in Madden or Mortal Kombat. Like I
That's the
don't want to
thing.
play Mortal
I,
Kombat, and
I
I
know
don't
you
want
don't
to play
want to
it.
play it. I just thought that at least you want to look.
No, I don't like watching people play fighting games. Even high level play, I'm not really like into it. I know some people are. I am not one of those people. Like
Alright.
I'm not a. Oh man, look how gorgeous this game looks. I
I
don't
mean, if
care.
anything, that the line that you gave me is the kind of line I expect people that are into graphics say.
What about me not really wanting to watch people play? No, I've never. I don't like watching people play games unless they're like
I know,
retro games that are really hard.
I know what you're saying. It's just I was saying that the way that you said it makes me think that you're complaining that you're saying that look at these pretty graphics.
No, no, it has nothing to do with the graphics. I don't like watching people play video games because it reminds me. Like watching people play video games reminds me from when I was a kid, and it would be a single player game, and I'd have to watch someone play the fucking game, and I couldn't do shit, while I was waiting for them to die so I could have a turn. Like it's just it doesn't do anything for me.
I have to deal with that with my family, so I gotta actually tolerate that.
Yeah, well, I'm an only child, so I didn't have to deal with that. So I don't like that. I'm like, hey, watch me play. Fuck you. Why the fuck do I have to watch you play? I'll go do something else. So, yeah, for me, I have no desire to watch people play Smash Brothers or anything like that. Or any fighting game. Like people playing, like the only time I'll watch a gameplay video is if they're doing like Mortal Kombat fatalities. That's just because I'm not going to buy the game and I just want to see the fatalities. you know, like I had Smash Brothers. I didn't like it. And so I gave it away to a friend of mine. I was like, yeah, you can have it. I don't want it. And now that I've given it away, I don't want to, I'm not looking back. Well, what if, well, that chapter is closed.
Yeah, I I could tell that you will be back, at least in my sense.
No, I'm done. Because I don't see Smash Brothers I don't see it going back to how it was before, to where it was more casual. I see it being more online multiplayer based because Nintendo wants to sell their online. So, I mean, like, you know, it's like Nintendo's not going to release a new multi console, a new mini console, because why should they when they can make money just selling you, you know, the same stuff over and over again. Or adding new content in drips and drabs on their online library. Like, you know. So, I can make videos about, hey, this would be the ideal N64 library, N64 mini game lineup, but it's not going to happen. So why hype myself up about something that's not going to happen? that's the definition of stupidity right there.
I was gonna say that some people live on hopium, and I actually, I actually at least hold out hope for something.
Yeah, hope is great, but if it's so unlikely that it's just like not even worth hoping for, like, yeah, man, I wish a bag of money would fall out the sky and land in my backyard. Come on, man. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'd be nice, but probably not. So that's where I'm like, okay, I can't really. I'm not all a quiver with that topic. But anyway, so yeah, I'm not really all gung ho gangbusters about the Smash Brothers reveal. But let's keep it moving. The Twitch hack. Thoughts?
Oh god, that mess.
Yes, no, maybe so. Twitch hack.
I'm gonna say that I have that even though I don't use Twitch like other people, still try to at least be sure that my account is alright.
Well, I'm gonna keep it real. There are certain people that I do watch on Twitch that I enjoy watching. So, so that's not good that there's a Twitch hack.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I consider a problem too. Though, if anything, it's annoying that of all things that had happened to that certain ecosystem of sorts, because Because if anything, that's one of the big entertainment resources.
It is like a lot of people. They like I know for me personally, there's a internet talk show I watch like every week called Double Toasted, and I watch them. I That's like one of my favorite shows to watch, and like I don't want those people losing their information and getting in trouble and stuff. I mean, that's not cool. And a lot of other people make their livelihood off of Twitch, so that's not good either. Um, and I'm not going to go into the stuff that apparently has been leaked. Like apparently Amazon is working on a Steam competitor called Vapor. Apparently,
To say, didn't we have Mixer try to do that already?
I'm not sure. Uh, I just know that the rumor is that they're working on a Steam competitor called Vapor, which is going to be like a Steam competitor, which is a stupid name for a Steam competitor. Um, and I don't see Amazon being able to outcompete Steam in gaming because Steam is just such a huge platform and has so much fucking money that it just you know.
It's like it prints money.
I mean, I'm not gonna say Steam prints money, but it's just like you know they have they have a low overhead and they get like 30 cents for every dollar. Or is it 20 or 15 cents? Anyway, that's a lot of money. Even if you're getting 15% of every sale that's $60, they get let me look that up. Let's see here. Cause I'm not good at math off the top of my head. 60
That's why calculators exist
times
at times.
0.5. I'm using the calculator. They get $9. They get $9 for every $60 game. So basically, even because I know their cut went down, it used to be 30%. So it went from $20 to $9, but still, they're getting a lot of money. So, it's a lot of money. I mean, Apple made more money off of their Apple Arcade than Nintendo and Microsoft made off of their games this fiscal year, thus far. Think about that, just off of the App Store.
Not bad.
So, and that's why all these companies keep on pushing online and all this shit, digital only, because there's money in them there hills. So,
I'm surprised there.
there's money in them there hills. Money!
Money, money, money.
So, and they want to get paid. I mean, hell, I want to get paid. Shit. And I don't have a business where I use a lot of computer technology, but
like that.
if I could make an app where every transaction I would make like even 10%. So every $10 I get $1. Every $100 I get $10. And all I have to do is just sit back
And watch the money flow.
Shit. I'm not gonna get mad about that. But no, I don't see Steam as being able to compete with Amazon. I mean, I don't see Amazon being able to compete with Steam. Mostly because Amazon does well when they compete against someone who doesn't really have the resources to compete back. But Valve has a lot of fucking resources. I mean, they aren't Amazon resources, but in their sphere, Valve is still the leader of that ecosystem. So I don't see that being a thing. But hey, what are your thoughts on it, Joel?
Huh. If anything, I understand where you're going with that. I just feel like, if anything, it's also an annoyance trying to keep up with Twitch and other businesses, because when something that big happens, it's gonna shake up a lot of hives.
I mean, the hack wasn't cool, but just, Twitch, because Twitch is owned by Amazon, so, Twitch
Yeah.
trying to do all that stuff. I'm like, okay, well, I guess you
Though
guys
if
can
anything,
try.
if anything, I could say at least at least it gets less hacks than Sony's system.
Yeah, but that's a very low bar. That is a very low bar.
I'm sorry, you Sony fans. I had to aim there, but it's true.
Very, very, very low bar. Like, extraordinarily low.
Huh.
Like, it's a broom that's been thrown on the floor, as people say, jump over that. that's a very low bar. But anyway, yes, I'm not really all a quiver about that system, but that's just me. But with that being said, I guess we gotta move
We
on
could
to
get on to the next topic.
the next topic. Yes, the next topic is miscellaneous news. So we have a few news stories, nothing huge, but miscellaneous. Um, Actually, just one.
Huh. This ought to be interesting.
Just one news story.
I mean, it's slow news, and hopefully it doesn't have to do with our least favorite company of the time.
No, we got nothing. No miscellaneous news stories. I mean, aside from the Twitch hack, I mean that was the big news story because apparently cybersecurity experts say it was one of the worst hacks they've seen. Like, I think this is on par with that Sony hack where all that shit came out about people having passwords like Sony 123, shit like that.
Oh,
Like where
please tell me
all
that
that
was
dirt
not.
came out and
I was
like
about to say, please tell me that was not a business's.
no, I don't mean it was like they had passwords like that. I mean with the information that came out from this hack, it's to that level.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not good. So, but let's keep it moving. So our next little bit of news is unpopular opinions, and then we can wrap things up. So, who wants to go first? You want to give your unpopular opinion, or shall I give my unpopular opinion?
I'll keep it in a lighthearted, unpopular opinion. You Rangers, Rangers should be given more power for being the least picked class in the D&D series.
I mean, it all depends on how you stat your ranger and what you equip them with. Like, if you have a ranger,
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that the Ranger is usually the least picked, as far as I know.
I mean, I don't know what the statistics are about that. I do know that if a ranger is statted properly, they can be very, very, very dangerous and OP
And
as fuck if
I
they're
was about to
statted
say,
properly.
I was going to say that Rangers who have certain moves could actually be broken for survival or D&D campaigns.
I mean, like, okay, if you do a ranger who's an old vet, uh, like an old war vet, who is a ranger, typical class, but they're a military sniper. They were a group of people that would like snipe motherfuckers from like 5 miles away with a long bow that's been specially created to have a heavy draw. Like, that's a character who can end campaigns with one shot. It's like, oh, we need to kill this warlord. I got this. and finish it off like a third of the way through and like, yeah, well, I want to go back to my farm and raise my kids. I don't want to be in this long adventure.
I was gonna make the joke that if anything, the only problem that I see with rangers like that is if they have bad range trouble. As
No, I just said the guy is a sniper. He designed to hit things from 5 miles away. That is a huge range.
that's campaign breaker, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a 20-year-old war vet. He's got the skills because in D&D, unlike real things, like old people, just because they're old doesn't mean that their skills have really atrophied, which is kind of weird. So you can have an old person who could totally kick someone's ass in D&D.
Amen there.
So yeah, I mean, it just depends on how they're statted. Like rangers in a city, if you take like a wood and forest ranger with a wolf companion, yeah, they're probably going to suck in an urban setting. But if you have a ranger who is a ranger from the city and their companion is like a Mongol warhound and they're from the city and instead of using like a bow and arrow, they use like a dueling sword and a handgun, which would totally be fitting for an urban ranger. It's okay. It fits their motif. It's all in basically how they're statted, really, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get you.
And how they're built. You know, like people make the mistake of thinking that rangers have to be, I'm in the woods, tra la 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 la.
Considering the video I showed you for how D&D classes train, you probably would get that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the stereotype of ranger, but ranger is far more than just people in the woods. Ranger just basically means that they are people who essentially their big thing is we keep the natural balance where we live. Like they're like the more martial druid, basically.
Yeah, the druids are probably going to be fighting the ranger for certain territories.
Not really.
Not,
Like the druid is going to deal with the mystical, natural side of things, whereas the ranger is going to be more active. It's like the druid's like, there's been a disturbance in the eastern side of the forest, and creatures are like unusual creatures are being corrupted, and I'm basically using all the powers I have in order to keep the corruption from spreading. So I'm going to need you to go and see what it is, and if you can, take it out. And they're going to send the ranger to go do it.
I can make the joke. Druids are like Jedi, and Rangers like bounty hunters.
Not really, because druids and rangers are both like Jedi's. Druids are like the Jedi consular, so like Yoda,
Okay,
and rangers are like Jedi sentinels or guardians, so Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker.
Okay, you got me there.
So they're not really, you know, they're two sides of the same coin. They both are really interested in the natural balance of things. You can have an urban druid. You could totally have an urban druid. You could totally have a druid who lives in the city.
Okay.
So, you know, it's basically in how it's statted and how what your character build is. If you have a shit character build or you're not really statting properly, then that's when you have a problem. But if you have a good build and good story, then, you know, good backstory, you know, you do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess it's my turn to give my unpopular opinion. Here's my unpopular opinion. I think that Far Cry is overrated, and basically, I'm tired of the franchise.
I thought you'd be thinking that another first person shooter is overrated.
No, Far Cry isn't well. I guess it is kind of, but I'm just tired of Far Cry. Like when Far Cry 4 came out, everyone's like, "This game is so great." I remember playing it. I'm like, "This game is ugly. I don't like the characters. The gameplay is kind of dated." Hello, Kanoshi.
Hey, I'm back.
Just in time for unpopular opinions.
Yeah, you're just in time for unpopular opinion.
And Rez was hating on Far Cry 4.
No, I said the whole franchise. I think most of the modern Far Cry games are trash. Far Cry 4, I think, is overrated. Far Cry 5 is just more 4. Far Cry 6, New Dawn, and they're just not that good. Because it's the same gameplay mechanic over and over again with nothing new added. And they never take it far enough. Like, okay, you're going to give us this massive open world to explore. Well, why, in order to open up more of the map, do we have to climb a tower and do something? Like, why can't we explore organically? Or, why does driving feel like shit in a Far Cry game? Like, you get in a vehicle in a Far Cry game and drive, it feels like hot buttered ass. And if you have an open world game with cars, like, it's better for you to just run around in Far Cry or teleport than to get in a vehicle. Because flying helicopters sucks. Using your wingsuit sucks. Driving sucks. But that's my unpopular opinion. I think Far Cry is overrated and not that good. You have any thoughts on it? You guys agree, disagree?
I could agree with you there.
I said modern Far Cry. I like the old Far Cries, like Far Cry 1, 2, Far Cry
That's how I was saying. I agree with
Prey.
you.
I like those games. Far Cry
That
Fury.
that the best Far Cry so far would be the Far Cry that went back into the past.
Oh, you mean Primal?
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't that good either, but at least you didn't have vehicles, and the vehicle, like, traversing the space didn't feel as unnatural. Because getting a car in a modern Fallout game, the cars drive like your character is drunk and has never driven a car. Like, it's
And
really bad.
We all know how that kind of result would turn out to be.
I mean, I've never driven drunk, but I would imagine that if you were driving drunk, your car would drive like that. And some people say, well, you didn't upgrade, you didn't get a good vehicle. I've been playing Far Cry New Dawn and Far Cry New Dawn and Far Cry 5. And I mean, the game is just like really, I mean, the vehicles just feel like ass. I'm sorry, they drive like hot buttered ass.
I was gonna say, is it as fair as Dark Souls?
No. When I say the cars drive poorly, I mean like they drive like anyone here played Watch Dogs?
No, I
Watch
haven't played it.
_dogs.
I played the
right?
second one.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you played the first one, you played the second one. You know how cars drive in that game, like, kind of like don't feel good to drive? They just feel kind of sluggish. Well, take that and then make it like 5 times worse, and that's how cars drive in Far Cry. It's bad.
Dang.
It's not fun. It is not fun. And the thing is, if you're gonna have a game where you have vehicles, make the vehicles feel good to drive.
Or at least something that doesn't feel like you're trying to drive a butter vehicle. I mean, a vehicle that's riding on butter.
No, I wish it was on butter. It feels like the vehicle. It feels like your vehicle. You're driving a car that has power steering, but the power steering fluid was all drained. That's what it feels like.
Dang.
Like everything feels like a struggle.
I was thinking that the turns are that turning and trying to make it stop and go is hard.
No, just everything feels like a struggle. It's like you're fighting against. It's like you're fighting against whatever the physics system is in the game in order to get around. And I know a lot of the times you're driving in wilderness, but when you're on roads, it's like you're driving in sludge.
Yeah, I can fully understand that one.
So yeah, that's my unpopular opinion. The modern Far Cry franchise is just kind of overrated. Um, I mean, even the spin-offs are kind of like underwhelming to me. And I know people are like, I'm really excited about Far Cry 6. I'm like, why? I don't get it. But, that's my own personal opinion. Kenoshi, do you have an unpopular opinion about gaming that you want to...
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts shouldn't have come to the Switch. Not in the form that it did.
I mean, Cloud...
Like, none
Cloud
of these
form?
games. None of these games that got announced for the Switch. Control, Dying Light 2 shouldn't have come to the Switch. If you can't optimize your game for the Switch, don't put it on it. It's like...
I agree.
You guys were willing to do that for the Wii. You guys were willing to do that for the Wii U. The Wii sold a hell of a lot more consoles than the 360 and the PS3. But you guys weren't willing, guys were doing this on the Switch for some. Okay.
So they'll just put out some shit.
I just don't get it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. It's cheaper for them to have the game running on a server that you connect to through your Wi-Fi or your internet connection than to actually,
Put the game on a cartridge and let it play on that.
optimize the game to run on physical media. They just don't. It's cheaper for them to do that, which is kind of sad because
That's just promoting more reasons to not get them for me.
well, the thing is, you're going to reach a point where the games are going to become too complex for even streaming because we don't have the infrastructure. They're like, well, you need a high-speed internet connection to play this game. Yeah, but how many people have high-speed internet connections?
Yeah, and I dread any game that is streaming only and is a fighting game.
I mean, let me explain this to people. This is what people need to understand. The high speed, even people who are paying a premium for what they've got right now, who are thinking, man, I pay a lot of money. Unless you have Fios or Google Fiber, okay? That Fios and Google Fiber are the best we have right now for high-speed internet, okay?
And
that is the
even
best.
at that point.
And even
you
that
are not
isn't
really
really
able
stable for
to control
everybody,
at all.
okay?
Yeah,
But that's the best we got, okay? And
That's
if you
all
don't
it
have
is.
that, then I don't, if you've got something like Spectrum or Jones or whatever the fuck they have where you live, it's probably not going to be that. So, people are in a bad situation. That's all I can say. But I agree. They shouldn't have ported those games over if they weren't gonna. And here's the thing: there's no excuse for Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, for the Kingdom Hearts trilogy to have been just a cloud game on the Switch.
Especially 1 and 2. 3,
Yeah, because those games were PS3 games, and the Switch has been selling gangbusters for like 5 years now. Okay, so even if maybe not that first year they had supported it, they knew that system was selling gangbusters for 4 years, and they couldn't have a port studio working on porting that shit over. That's just some bullshit.
They didn't want to pay for it. I guess it was I was watching a video on it today. I guess it was a huge undertaking to port the HD remake.
Let me guess, from Modern Vintage Gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
Did
that
you see
too.
that same video?
Yeah, I was like, okay, so I guess I'm like, okay, that's a good point if this was like the second year of the Switch being on the market, but these fuckers have had 5 years. Because I know Kingdom Hearts, the Kingdom Hearts trilogy, 1 and 2 came out last gen. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, Kochi.
Yeah, you're right. They had 5 years to do this. Why? Like this? There's absolutely no excuse. to why they did it. I think the reason they ported it to PC because Epic dropped the
Paid them a
bunch of
lot of
money
money for it. Yeah.
on their desks. Like, hey, can you port these games to PC? They already use our engine. They already
Should be
use the
relatively
Unreal
easy.
engine.
Yeah.
It should be relatively easy, and you get a big chunk of the profits.
Yeah.
And they're like, sure,
Yeah. Sure.
yeah,
Give us some money.
yeah.
But the
So
way it is now, I'm
it's
like,
simple.
this is
Really.
just, yeah. Like, I mean, like, why should I, like, okay, I bought your game, but I also have to have a high speed internet connection to play your game. And look, here's the thing. I'm not saying this for me. I have Fios. I have the best internet that you can conceivably have um, in where I live. Okay, but I'm the exception to the rule because not everyone has Fios.
Yes, and I'll say this: even with the best of the internet, I mean the best internet that you could possibly acquire, there's still chances that you will be DC'd. And if you DC on certain games, they will count you as a DQ.
Yeah, well, no, what it does is it boots you off the server. It just
I
boots you off the server. Because I
I said
remember,
certain games can count you as DC.
yeah, if you're playing like a
However,
multiplayer game, but typically speaking, if you're playing like a normal game, what happens is it just basically
kicks you off
it
like you
just
got.
it boots you out the game. It's like, okay, connection lost, and boots you out the game, and then when you get back, you're where you were. It like remembers your session on their server on the server side. But still, that's really inconvenient. That's really inconvenient for you to pay $60 for a game and you don't even have the
Right,
courtesy.
they don't even have the physical copy of it.
Yeah, you paid $60 for a game that you don't own. You're basically renting it.
Like
Yeah,
again, they're putting Dying Light. I mean, at least they're putting the original Dying Light, which was a PS4, Xbox One game, on the Switch. They put Doom, both the Dooms, Doom Eternal, Doom 2016, on the Switch. Granted, they don't look particularly great
Yeah, but you can play
compared to
it.
their counterpart,
They're
but you can play
playable.
it.
They're playable.
It's not broken.
You know.
Well, I mean, as far as Bethesda games go, it's
Well, I mean
not
that's
busted.
okay. Bethesda published it. They weren't made by. They were made by id, and id
Yeah.
doesn't really like. I've never played an id game where like this shit's unplayable, except for Rage 2. Rage 2 on PC for some reason just is fucked. But that's neither here nor there.
Oh yeah.
But I get what you're saying. It's sad, but that's the state of gaming.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is that
And
Nintendo is allowing this. They're like, yeah, sure, why not?
And I understand why. Because remember, last night on my cast, we talked about Sean Layden and why he essentially left Sony to go out on a new venture. We talked about how chasing these graphics are just making things a lot more expensive, and that's probably why, more than likely, that's why Nintendo hasn't been chasing all these resolutions and graphics and frame rates the same level. It's just gonna make developing games more expensive.
I mean, I understand that, and I'm not a resolution. I'm not like, oh man, if this game doesn't have a certain resolution. But I think certain games should have certain games should be bellwether games, like benchmark. Hey man, look what this shit can do. And then certain
Yeah.
games need to be more, you know, more lore in. Like Kirby's Dream Land, the 3D Kirby's Dream Land coming out doesn't need to be a graphical tour de force because
Yeah.
it's ultra stylized.
Yeah.
I'd rather it run well than be, it's 4K resolution. Why?
I was gonna make the comment that we don't need the 4K 60 jokes, people.
Well, I mean, like, here's the thing: if someone can have a game that has 4K resolutions and it's stable and it's 60 frames per second, stably, not like dipping, I'm not gonna say no to that. I'm not gonna be like, no, give me 30 frames and 1080p. If you can give me more, and stably, I'm okay with that. But it's not like, oh my god, if it doesn't have this, I'm not gonna buy it. My issue is that we can't even get that.
Yeah.
My issue is that we're getting we're getting just trash. We're getting like these half-assed, games being ported to the system, and it's not cool. It's unacceptable.
Yeah. It shouldn't. It's like, oh, finally, Kingdom Hearts. Not really. Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts is still not on the Switch on my mind.
yeah, you're
You're
getting
just it's you're accessing it through a server. It's still
yeah,
technically not on the Switch.
you're playing it on whatever server that Square Enix has uploaded the game to. The mega server that they've uploaded the game to. That's what you're getting. You're not getting you're not really playing Kingdom Hearts in the classical sense of the term because you don't own it. And if that server goes down, you're not going to be able to play the shit anyway. So how
And
about
look,
dumb
how many
apples?
people have been begging for a mainline Nintendo Kingdom Hearts game to come on the Switch?
Years,
Forever now, right?
years,
For
yeah,
years.
years.
You don't think you wouldn't have made your money back?
Yeah, but this is Square Enix. Okay, Square Enix is the sorriest, most half-assed video game company I've seen for years. Okay, they do the definition of their definition of is bare minimum. Okay, they do the bare minimum. All right, it's like, let me do the bare minimum. Let me do just enough. Just enough.
Yeah.
Say, hey man, how are we gonna get this to work? I mean, we saw how they did those half-ass ports for Chrono Trigger, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
how people
God,
got
those
mad and
ports.
they people were legitimately, and I don't blame them. People were pissed with those fucking half-ass Chrono Trigger ports.
As I said, oh God, those ports.
Those half-ass bullshit ports of Final Fantasy. And that's what they were. They were half-ass bullshit, okay?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I mean, look at what Square has done to a lot of their older franchises and how they've just
Bastardized
sort of
them, cheapened them,
bastardized them, cheap. Yeah, exactly.
you know. Shit, they took Final Fantasy VII and cut it up into like multiple parts so they could make more money.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's people who don't have like the thing that gets me is okay, I understand that you guys are happy that Square Enix finally remade Final Fantasy VII, but they're literally cut the game up into like multiple parts so they could fuck you over with the cash. And you're like smiling. It's like someone made you eat shit and you're smiling with your mouth filled with the evidence. Yeah, I like this. This is great. I'm like, okay. I mean, I wouldn't do it. Hell, I didn't get I didn't get Mario Kart 8 on the Switch because I was like, this is some bullshit.
Hmm.
yeah.
I didn't get Super Mario U on the Switch because I was like, I already have this game. Like, why would I pay for a game why would I pay more for a game I already own? That's just stupid. Unless they're adding a lot of new content. Like if you're adding a lot of new content or content that just was not really able to do on last gen hardware, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But if you're just throwing some shit together, then I'm not cool with it. But that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. Probably am wrong. But anyway. So yeah, I agree. I think your unpopular opinion has a lot of merit. And not just because I agree with it, but because you made a good point. So that's the end of the cast. Anything you guys want to bring up since we're gonna? No, no. Actually, we're almost to the end. Any quick topics you guys want to bring up before we wrap things up?
No.
All right.
Probably a quick question. What what you think? What you gonna feel? How you gonna feel about Dread coming soon?
Dread what?
Oh,
Oh, you
Metroid
mean
Dread.
Metroid
I
Dread?
want
Well, I mean,
mm,
like I saw an early review for it, and they said it's a really good game, except for the bosses are kind of hard. And I'm like, eh.
I was gonna say hard bosses are at times what can make or break a game.
I mean,
sometimes, yeah, sometimes bosses can be hard but fun, or just be or
no,
absolute bullshit.
well, that wasn't my thing. My thing was I just don't want them to. I don't want this game to be a retread of Fusion, which is what it was kind of sounding like it was going to be. Just Fusion, just
Um,
more Fusion. Except instead of you being chased by, uh, 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 a sex parasite Samus, you're being chased by robots. I'm like, I mean, I guess I don't know.
So
I
if
liked
anything, you
Fusion though. That was good.
Yeah, I like Fusion too, but I mean, I don't want a retread of something that's already been done. I wanted
I was
something
gonna make the comment
innovative.
that fusion you could take in the viruses on the spot, but you have to evolve yourself in order to take more in.
Yeah, and that's basically what they're doing with this game. It's like the Emmys, you can't take them on, but you might eventually get the weapons to take them on, and you're being hunted down. I'm like, this is basically Fusion all over again. I mean, look, I like Fusion, but I mean, you would think they could come up with something new besides retreading what we already did, but giving us more. But I will, I will withhold my overall judgment until, um, you know, I play the game and etc stuff. But that's my personal opinion at this point. I just think it. I could be wrong though. Probably am. But yeah, I mean, I hope it's good. Because I did not like that Metroid 2 remake. Um, so maybe the new one will be good. I don't know. Maybe Metroid Dread will be good, but could not be. I don't know. Could be, could not be. I don't know. Could go either way. Um, but what do you guys think?
For me, I'm seeing that there's at least some good hopes for that game.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it'll be. Hopefully it'll be really awesome. I hope so. I hope it is awesome. I hope it's really good.
Metroid needs a win.
I mean, I won't say Metroid needs a win. It's just, you know, it's just I haven't enjoyed the last few Metroid games, but my like or dislike is immaterial because I'm kind of I prefer my Metroid franchises to be separate from each other, not like I don't like how they've been adding Metroid Prime shit into in the 2D Metroid games. But that's my own personal opinion. Um, so what do you guys? So that's the end of the cast. Anything you guys want? Anything you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
I'm alright.
Oh yeah, we're doing a cast next Tuesday. Be talking about the Kingdom Hearts cloud issue, just cloud gaming in general, as well as generations. What is a generation? What defines a generation as pertains to gaming? What isn't a generation? Because there's a lot of discussion about the Wii U, talking about how it wasn't a next gen console because it didn't have the same graphics as the PS4, the Xbox One, or something.
Yeah, but if they make that argument, then neither are the PS4 and the Xbox One. because neither of those consoles really had graphics that were that much better than the previous generation. Really.
No, not really. Yeah.
I mean, hell, you could say that about the current gen consoles. None of them are really all that much more advanced than the last gen stuff. But going by that flawed logic, I'll say this much: none of the next gen consoles are really doing anything new or innovative this gen that they couldn't have done last gen in terms of gaming. But anyway, that being said, that's the end of the podcast. Anything you guys want to? Well, I mean, I have a new video coming out later on this week, and also my re-review of Fallout New Vegas coming out Friday, which is part of the new series re-review, where I re-review old ass games to see if they still hold up. The week after next, I'll probably be doing KOTOR 1, and then after that, KOTOR 2 for a re-review. So that's going to be fun. So that's the end of this cast. And with that being said, with all that being said, peace. Good night.
And hype responsibly, please.
That's right. That's right. Hype responsibly. Or else.